In a recent article, I discussed the political views of 5 Marines, all veterans of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Here's more of what they had to say.
So,
I won't name any names in the upcoming election, but, you know.
well, that's kind of the whole point.
Okay, alright, so Mitt Romney sucks.
My general impression from his, like, he leaves out a lot in what he says. Like, he says what America wants to hear, or what he thinks people want to hear, just so he can sway the vote in his direction. But
And Obama pissed me off a lot when he first got into office.
We've given it a run. He hasn't really produced none of the promises that he's made in 4 years, and the economy's gotten worse, unemployment's gotten worse, deficit's gotten worse.
I feel like he doesn't do things the right way, and he's not as transparent as he's kind of like Romney in that aspect. Like he's not as transparent as he wants. Like, and when he was first elected, and I still kind of feel the same way. I feel like he was just a publicity stunt.
My problem with Romney is not so much that his ideas are weird. It's that he's basically a flip-flopper. I mean,
Romney looks like shit. So at least it seems like the lesser of two evils would be Obama. And I think there's other candidates out there who, again, because it's either Democrat or Republican, that these people are getting overlooked.
The way I look at it, like I said, is I don't really feel like either of the candidates, either of the primary candidates, are really worth their salt. I think Romney's a sneaky little sucker, and I think Obama has really failed on what he said he was going to do with his presidency. So, it's kind of, what are you going to do? Damn if you do, damn if you don't, really.
If you had to choose one, what's the single most important issue to you coming up in this election?
I don't want to choose one. I kind of have two.
Okay, hey, no, I was going to ask you what's number one and then what's 2 and 3, so just what are your top three?
Education and food. I think, people are going to be poor, kids are going to be poor, but what we can do is provide them with a baseline education. That's if there are people out there that want to pay, that want to give more money to their schools or pay for private school, that's fine. But there's no reason that at the most basic level, at zero in this country, that you can't get a good education at a regular school. Yeah, it might be overcrowded, but there's no reason you shouldn't have good teachers. There's no reason we shouldn't have good textbooks. There's no reason that we shouldn't have computers where kids are learning just like every other kid in the world. There's no reason that we should be dead last in science and math.
Our economy, I mean, it's ridiculous that we don't have any jobs, and there's not a lot being done to create jobs.
my biggest thing is healthcare. Basically just because healthcare is going to be such a huge part of the budget, of the debt, of what we're going to have to combat or try and fix over the next couple of years.
The biggest problem I have with Obama is his foreign policy. I don't know, most recently it has been blown up in his face. And I don't feel like America's out to please too many people right now. We're spread way too thin for what we're trying to do.
Trickling down, I think it's ridiculous that we have 23 million unemployed Americans at this point. That's too much.
So within the next 10, 20 years, you're going to look at a huge jump in healthcare expenditure, and that's going to be double or triple times what we spend on defense or any other thing, education, what have you.
Give kids a good education, give them some food, and let them handle the rest. We don't have to support them their whole lives, but at least provide them with that. Mm-hmm. And I think that will solve a lot of problems. And and that even goes into healthcare. If kids are eating right, a lot of this stuff is preventative. If they're eating right, if they're doing the right thing in that respect, you can cut these trips down to the doctor. You can cut down childhood obesity if they're eating right, eating the right proportions at that.
There's a lot that goes into the economy. If the economy were to improve, more people would be able to get jobs, which, better jobs would mean better health care. So I feel like the economy would be the big one that if that was to improve or change, then a lot of the other problems would kind of fall into place.
Who are you voting for this election?
Romney. No, I'm voting for Obama. Or I'm going to pencil myself in.
Even if I voted for someone who I strongly believed in, and we saw this already, even if they win the votes, even if they get the majority, it's whoever these people want to control.
I'm planning to vote for Romney.
right now, for me, it's between Ron Paul and Romney.
I don't want to vote for either one of them, to be honest with you. I really don't.
Voting just it doesn't work for me.
At this point, I would vote for anybody, I think, but Obama.
My dream candidate would be John Wayne if he was still alive. But that's just me. I mean,
Diehard Republican, so I don't really like Obama, but he's the better choice right now.
What's the right to vote if if your vote doesn't count if you don't want to vote for a Democrat or a Republican? Like, we have a voice, but even then, it's not very big.